In this episode, we return to the place where it all began. Armed with a unique vision and a solid plan, Tiger Brands ventured out onto the continent and have since become the heartbeat of an emerging market. We've come full circle. My name is Prue Jinka, and you're watching Access Africa. The history of Tiger Brands is an inspirational story. One that shows that with the right partnerships and a clear vision of the future, one can actually create success. Employees play a pivotal role in the Tiger Brands story. They are the individuals who make up the workforce of the organization. At Tiger Brands, employees are afforded the opportunities to develop their careers, knowledge and experience whilst being part of making a real impact at the organization. Tiger Brands is proudly known for its high-performance culture, flexible working conditions, allowing for a much more holistic and balanced working culture. How long have you been at Tiger Brands?
I've been working for Tiger Brands for 11 years.
And what's the culture like here?
Very diverse culture, various different religions, but a big, nice, happy family to work with.
Tell me a little bit more about that smile you've got on your face.
Well, because I'm the face of Tiger, I have to make customers and visitors feel welcome at all times, as well as new staff that are being appointed into this place.
What type of people walk through those doors?
I've seen various types of people. Some absolutely ecstatic to walk in here. Some feel that they're welcome and at home. The company itself, very big, a very nice company to work with. I remember the first day I walked into their offices, and I said to my husband, if they offer me a permanent position, I would really take it because it's like a home away from home.
In a bid to understand the ethos and the people who make up Tiger Brands, I'm speaking to Twelo Kodisang, who is the head of HR, Human Resources. How would you describe the ethos of Tiger Brands?
I think for me it starts with if one thinks about the tiger. It's majestic, it's graceful, it's agile, it's courageous, and I think some of those will describe the ethos of people that you find in Tiger. Very ambitious, very humble, very driven, really trying to make a big difference. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a difference to consumers. We're trying to make a difference to our different stakeholders, to shareholders. We're trying to make a difference to society that we live in. And we try to make a difference to our own families that we come from. And that's what you'll find kind of describing the people that you'll find in the Tiger business.
How many people make up the South African component of your business?
We are roughly about just over 8,500 people in South African operation.
And when you add the balance of the continent to that?
Then we're really creating employment. Then we get to just above 16,000. And I think that's really positive in tough, challenging situation that we're able to still create some opportunities and grow employment within the broader African continent and specifically within South African country.
How does Tiger Brands add value to its people?
Most of our training will be on the job. I think, if I think a little bit to my own career, a lot of the learning that I did was on the job. So we spend a lot of time giving people opportunities. We've got a great breadth of businesses. And as such, we have a unique opportunity to be able to give people varied experiences, whether somebody who can work in the bakery business, or somebody can work in the milling operation, or in the value-added opportunity, or by the beverages. So there's really a vast range of opportunities that people are able to get. So as such, we spend a bit of time giving people experiences across these different businesses, so that when they've got these experiences, they'll be able to know what to do in senior positions, let's say in future. I guess the other dimension is that we've got very solid opportunities outside of South Africa. So whether it's in the Cameroon business, or our Ethiopian business, Kenyan business, or the Nigerian business, currently giving people experience outside of South Africa and a bit of multi-country experiences also plays a significant role. Lastly, I would say we do invest quite a lot in terms of what we call 10% of formal training. Whether we've got a whole lot of academies that we run. We also have people having the opportunity to start with leading institutions across, pretty much across the world. So it will be a combination of learning on the job, formal training through the academies. That's how we build capability within the Tiger Brands.
With people being at the core of their business, Tiger Brands has adopted a stance when it comes to giving back to the community. The Tiger Brands Foundation seeks to improve the lives of vulnerable school children and their surrounding communities by creating sustainable, scalable, and replicable programs focused on nutrition and education enhancement. We speak to the Foundation's chairperson, Dr. Miriam Altman.
Well, we have a very focused effort to introduce breakfast into no-fee schools where the poorest children are located. Right now, there is no breakfast program. There's a government lunch program. We have introduced a model for breakfast. We introduce industrial kitchens into the schools because right now they work on hot plates to serve 1,000 children sometimes. We monitor the program. So we introduced a very innovative mobile monitoring program. After 3 years of operation, we had our 20 millionth meal, which puts me to tears, really. We had our 20 millionth meal last October 2014, I should say. And we reach almost 40,000 children every single day with a high-quality breakfast. The first year, our pilot program was in Alexandra Township. In the first year, we had University of Johannesburg doing a review of the impact on those children. So they measured those children at the beginning of the year and they measured them at the end of the year. Just to give an example, stunting fell by 1/4 in the first year. Now, I'm from a scientific background. I held that study back for 6 months because honestly, I couldn't believe it. We brought in the top nutritionists to review the study. And in fact, they said, yes, the study was done properly. And it just shows you for about 2 rands a child a day in 1 year that you can have such an enormous impact. It's almost unbelievable.
Tiger Brands' longevity is due to its strong human relationships. This forms part of their strategy, especially when dealing with producers, distributors, and consumers on the continent. After the break, we conclude with a word on Tiger's push into Africa. When Tiger Brands decided to expand into the balance of the continent, it was clear that the organization's vision had to accompany the solid strategy that would be country-specific and still maintained the broad ethos. 7 years later, and Tiger Brands have evolved into a different company that has expanded further, growing its opportunities and learning from its shortcomings. Neil Brimacombe sheds more light about the journey over the last 7 years. Is there anything that you would share with any other organization wanting to venture out into the balance of the continent?
Sure, Prue. In that regard, probably the single biggest piece of advice is a local partner. To the extent that they understand the language, the culture, the route to market capabilities, have the associated government contacts to unpack and remove any particular bureaucratic investment issues or around infrastructure and the like. Secondly, avoid at all costs this concept of the conqueror syndrome. One of the learnings which we had extracted from other companies venturing into the balance of the continent was precisely that, the balance of the continent. South Africa is very much part of Africa and not distinct from. And that has set well as we've gone into the various countries in which we've operated. And then I guess the third leg of this is the point around it's not wrong, it's different, which goes very to the point of the attitude of respecting the local partners and learning from them, because too often we have a judgmental approach to doing business in the rest of the continent when actually it works. Learn from it.
Whilst vision is key in mapping out the journey, people are the reason Tiger Brands exists. Next, we speak to a Tiger Brands customer who tells us about the products. What value do you think this basket of brands adds to your organization?
The Tiger Brands in all the different camps, and then I'm referring to the fatties and monies, spaghettis, the baked beans, the tomato sauces, the mayonnaise, are all well-known brands. They're brands that our customers believe in, they trust them, and that is why they are very, very important to our business. If we advertise a Koo baked beans, customers know what they're getting, they know the quality, and that is what is good for our customers. They're not buying cheapies that they're going to go spend their disposable income and waste their money. They're buying good value, good brands, from a good company.
We ask Zin Mabaso a few pertinent questions. Zin, tell us more about the unique relationship that Tiger Brands has with South Africa.
If you look at the relationship, I think it's based on the brands that are represented in the Tiger Brands stable. That's really the basis of the relationship with South Africans. Our brands are part of the South African heritage, and they're also part of the South African identity. If you look at the iconic brand survey, which is done on a yearly basis, you'll see that a lot of the of Tiger Brands' brands are featured in the top 10 of iconic brands in SA. So basically, I guess through our brands, we're an inextricable part of the South African fabric.
South Africa is a complex society. How does Tiger Brands keep its synergy with its employees against this backdrop?
We're a South African citizen or corporate citizen, and basically, I guess through transformation, we employ employees that mirror the South African culture and language. And it's really about Tiger Brands having created an enabling environment that seeks to kind of nurture and sustain an environment where these complex cultures can coexist in the form of our employees.
Amidst various consumer needs and wants on a diverse continent, it is imperative that organizations understand the process of quality control. Next, we speak to Patrick Sitole, the head of supply chain. Patrick, how has the operational side of Tiger Brands evolved over the years?
If you look at the business, we've got 52 factories across the region. That includes Kenya, Nigeria, and Cameroon. And the technologies vary very widely, from making bread, pasta, maize, then you're packing tomato sauce, you're packing baby products. So the technology is vast and wide. And secondly is that as we have acquired a number of businesses, we have had to do a lot of modernization, upgrading technology, upgrading facilities to meet Tiger standards. And within South Africa, we've had to make substantial investments. We invest nearly about 1 billion rand on average per annum in capex to bring our facilities to the right level of standard, as well as making sure that the technology is at a level that we require to drive productivity, to reduce cost, and continue to deliver the kind of a product quality that our consumers are used to.
Patrick, do you think that your operations can serve as a benchmark for the rest of Africa?
We've got a program on how we're going to continue to use less water in our products and in our operations, use less energy in our operations, or use alternative sources of sustainable energy supply, and also ultimately also reduce our impact in terms of the environment. And we need to continue playing not just that within our operations, but in educating society on how we interact with our products, and also ultimately the impact our products make on the environment needs to be reduced quite substantially.
In keeping with Tiger Brand's expansion plan, we hear what Bernardine Nordier has to say about exports. Bernardine, how did it come about that Tiger Brands decided to expand its footprint on the continent as opposed to other potentially lucrative territories?
Over the next several decades, sub-Saharan Africa will continue to extract the highest level of foreign direct investment inflows per capita compared to the other developing regions. And business case studies on the continent suggest that risk-adjusted returns for new investors on the continent were higher than ever. By 2030, the spend of big countries in Africa with big populations could be as much as $2.2 trillion on consumer goods. And that obviously make us want our products to be in there.
Your brands are represented in some 26 countries. Could you tell us what the journey was like for Tiger Brands to actually achieve this?
Well, it did take Tiger Brands quite a significant number of years to get the export business to a sizable profit contribution. And the business really started to grow when a standalone division was established with sole focus on the export markets and a dedicated sales, marketing and logistics team.
Is there a brand identity for Tiger Brands across the continent?
When Tiger Brands first started off in South Africa, we believed that Tiger as the corporate brand would remain very much in the background. And we have marketed our brands so that the brands take the lead. So whether it's All Gold or Tastic or Albany or Koo, we've marketed those brands in the foreground and kept the corporate brand quite in the background. As we have expanded into the rest of Africa, we've actually found that our strategy needs to change because we're coming with new brands and new concepts and new entries into new markets. We're actually finding that the role of the corporate brand is changing, and it's becoming very important for us to endorse our leading brands with that corporate branding. So the brand that and it's really a work in progress, but the brand that we're creating is we're trying to live out and bring across to the markets the concept that we believe in, which is adding value to life. So in a way, we're getting the Tiger Brands corporate identity to support our brands by saying, more than just the brands we're selling you, as a company, we will always promise you quality. We will always promise you consistency. We will promise you that we will contribute to the country and the communities in different ways. And so the corporate brand is really starting to develop a very important identity in association with our leading brand names.
We have a passion for excellence. This is a key vision point that is applied in every product, in all operations, functions, and every relation with the consumer. We speak to the CEO, Peter Matlari, about the way forward. Peter, what makes Tiger Brands tick?
You know, it becomes a cliche. Great people, great brands. The reality is, what makes us tick is we have a performance-driven culture, with great people, great brands, and again, this tenacity, this resilience, where we don't fall over and we can't get up again. So what makes it a great place is it's really the people that sit in these buildings, these factories, and the pride they have in what they do. It's not always fantastic, but I like to think that we learn from where things go wrong and we fix it and we keep going. And I love that.
As the CEO, knowing what you know today, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Hindsight is always an exact science, but the reality is we make the best judgment calls at the time based on the available information that we have and our understanding of what's going on. So I'm not one who likes to look back and say, if only I'd known, etc. I would rather say, having learnt the lessons from whatever we did this time round, I'm better positioned to make an even better decision next time round, as opposed to what would I change. I don't think we have the luxury of living in a land of what would I change.
Peter, where to from here?
We have a very strong belief that Tiger has a lot to contribute, not just to South Africa, but to the continent, the balance of our continent. The industrialization of our continent over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we have to be part of, and we will be part of. And hopefully, those who we hand over to will therefore be able to continue what started long before I sat in the chair anyway, which is creating great products by great people, giving you great brands and adding value to people's lives. I think great teams support great leaders or make great leaders. But if I was to talk about Tiger under my tenure, I'd like to think that where we've been, okay, people would want us to come back. Where we are, people would want us to stay. And where we are going, people would want us to hurry up and get there. Because if we can get those right, it means that we've embedded ourselves into the fabric of the societies in which we operate in a positive manner, rather than in a simplistic, extractive manner.
Where Tiger Brands have been, people want them to return. Where they are, people want them to stay. And where they're going, people cannot wait for them to arrive. Thank you for journeying with us to Kenya, Cameroon, Ethiopia, and Nigeria as we've explored Tiger Brands' expansion on the balance of the continent. In our next season, Access Africa brings you yet another captivating African expansion story. From me, Prue Jinka, goodbye.